Stories that unravel in the form of a visually stunning masterpiece are those that are memorable to the viewer. It's those memories of that wilderness, that aerial flight, that planet, that newborn, or that drive along the road that we make our ultimate judgment of the film. Cinematography is the method of visual storytelling by implementing techniques in terms of colour, light and camera work. This is the definition that I will be using in this film review show. This creates an artistically satisfying experience so that the story behind these shots can be followed in addition to the moods and atmospheres emphasised. Even award-winning cinematographers such as Roger Deakins can't even describe it, saying in an interview,
"Your working definitions, they change all the time."
I've got no definition. I really got no idea how you describe it. I mean, it's such a, but one discipline overlaps with another,
But as much as the cinematography matters, we also have to look into the mise en scène, or placing on stage of it, which is simply what do we see in the frame. It's not always just the cinematography, but the effects, the actors, the props, the setting, which are what make a scene memorable. Cinematographer Emmanuel Chivo Lubezki has created some of the most beautiful moments in film, and his work is recognised throughout the industry, not to mention 3 consecutive Academy Awards under his belt. Today, I will be exploring the cinematography style of this man based off 5 of his acclaimed films: Children of Men, The Tree of Life, Gravity, Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, and The Revenant. By the end of this, we will have created a formula to make a Lubezki masterpiece in terms of colour, light and camera work. Let's begin with Children of Men. Alfonso Cuarón immerses the audience in a vision of the future where the infertility epidemic has led to a world of destruction, chaos and anarchy. Theo risks his privileged life to help a group of people to safety away from unaware personal dangers. This scene, arguably my favourite, is an extremely long take of Theo and his friends travelling through the city while it is under siege.
Okay, it's clear. Now. It's clear. Hands above your head and fucking move out.
Tell me, fuck your cousin!
Get on your knees! On your knees!
You was 19!
Don't kill him! Don't kill him!
Watch the flanks!
Okay. Thank God.
You'll be safe now. How's the child?
You put their lives at risk.
Just let it go. You don't know what you're doing.
No. Look around you. It's the uprising. And they haven't even seen the baby. Let's go. Not in front of the girl. Wait till we get round the corner and do them all. Come on!
The scene was glad. Passing the folks along the road and all of them were stopping. All the lads and lasses there, all the small
Sorry.
This scene can be seen as two shots with the transition disguised in a whip pan into darkness. The journey from the start to the building is one shot, and everything inside the building is the second. What gives it away is the position and disappearance of the blood dots on the lens, which seem to be created using computer generation in the second shot. The use of the long take, a signature move of Lubezki, keeps the audience focused on everything going on in the shot. We feel like we're seeing a documentary by the handheld motion of the camera following Theo and his companions to mimic his movements or positions, creating an effect that seems almost like the camera is its own person with them. This makes the whole experience much more immersive. You will hear me saying the word immersive a lot, as Lubezki's style creates a very immersive experience. It's what the style is about for the audience, in some ways, in all of these moments that I've chosen today. The colour throughout the movie and in this scene is purposely low contrasted to create an eerie and dismal atmosphere to suit this war-like place. The faded colour scheme, it's almost like this world without children is a world without colour, and allowing the people of this world to realise the importance children bear in our lives. The whole scene was done in an outdoor set using natural lighting to make it as immersive and naturalistic as possible for the audience. Inside the building, the lighting becomes darker, showing the lack of electricity, and so the audience can experience what it's been like for the poor who are trying to survive this bombardment with shots fired at random times. In this second film, Jack reminisces on his childhood with his two parents teaching very different things. His father teaching him to tackle the cruel world ahead of him, and his mother exploring the beauty and joy of the world ahead of him. In this naturally shot film by Terrence Malick, we explore how we choose to approach life, through either grace or nature.
No job. Or transferred to a job nobody wants.
Father.
I never missed a day of work.
Mother.
Tithed every Sunday.
Always you wrestle inside me. Always you will.
Young Jack, all I ever wanted for you was make you strong and grow up and be your own boss. Maybe I've been tough on you. I'm not proud of that.
I'm as bad as you are. I'm more like you than her.
Well, it's about all I've done in life. Otherwise, I've drawn a zilch. You're all I have. You're all I want to have. Sweet boy.
This scene I found quite touching for what it was. You see Mr. O'Brien's character as this person who has higher authority above everyone else, and before this moment we'd keep pushing around Jack to toughen him up and be harsh to him. However, this scene contradicts everything he has done up to this point, as he realizes what he has been doing is wrong. He apologizes to his son, something extremely difficult for a parent to do, and almost adopts this idea of grace that we see in their mother, almost the human-like version of nature. Throughout this whole scene, the level of framing is at the height of younger Jack, to give the audience an idea of what Mr. O'Brien's apology felt like from his perspective. Lubezki uses a wide-angle lens right in front of all of the actors to ensure that we get their full emotions and we see them really acting, emphasizing the performance of the actors. All lighting in the scene was natural, but was filmed to create moments of naturalism, one in particular being the moment where Jack and his father hug each other. It seems like it's just natural for those actors to be hugging each other, which is truly beautiful on screen. The colours are quite subtle yet maintain their colour. They aren't quite as dull as in Children of Men, which is what separates these two films. The idea of having this colour scheme is to differentiate it from the present day in the film with older Jack, and tell people that this is in the past, almost like a memory we're reliving. Got your heart racing, didn't it? Immediately, Lubezki has been able to introduce everyone to the absence of sound in space. Almost relaxing after hearing the crescendo of distressing music at the start. We see a gargantuan rotating Earth struggling to fit in the frame and feels closer to us than we think. Halfway through, and frequent collaborator Quaron once again creates a memorable experience, this time alongside astronaut Dr. Stone, as she uses her boldness and her wit to get back to Earth after a disaster. This involves surviving a bombardment of high-speed space debris in extremely tense and distressing scenes, exploring the concept of hope.
If this works when we touch down tomorrow, I'm buying all you guys a round of drinks.
That's a date, Doctor. Just remember.
Is this great or what?
And to think he went to Harvard. You gotta admit one thing. Can't beat the view. So what do you like about being up here?
The silence. I could get used to it.
Terrific.
Houston, from first inspection, comms panel appears to be dead. Am I a go to...
Now this next part is where we step things up a bit.
It's your call.
Houston, I have a bad feeling about this mission. Hands with
ISS, this is Houston. Explorer, this is Houston.
Go ahead, Houston.
Mission abort. Repeat. Mission abort. Initiate emergency disconnect from Hubble. Begin re-entry procedure. ISS, initiate emergency evacuation.
Copy all, Houston ended work. Matt, immediate return to Explorer. Repeat, immediate return to Explorer.
Copy. Explorer, prep airlock.
Airlock engaged, ready to receive.
Houston, elaborate.
Debris from the missile strike has caused a chain reaction, hitting other satellites and creating new debris. Traveling faster than a high-speed bullet up towards your altitude. Now copy.
Copy all. Put a bow on it, Dr. Stone.
I can't. The board is still initializing.
I'm not gonna ask you again.
1 second.
Not 1 second, now. Shut it down. That's an order.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm done. Kowalski, initiate emergency disconnect from the Hubble.
All right, Sharif, let's do this.
Roger, Matt.
Houston, update?
Well, we have a full-on chain reaction. It's been confirmed that it's the unintentional side effect of the Russians striking one of their own satellites.
They shut down their own satellite.
Right at disposal. Most likely a spy sat gone bad. Now it's shrapnel. Explorer ready to disengage HST.
Locks releasing in 3, 2, 1.
Explorer, new data coming through.
What's the blowback, Houston?
It's not good. Most of our systems are gone. Debris chain reaction is out of control and rapidly expanding. Multiple satellites are down and they keep on falling.
Define multiple satellites.
Most of them are gone. Telecommunication systems are dead. We expect a communications blackout at any moment.
Kowalski, visual of debris at 9 o'clock.
Half of North America just lost their Facebook.
Explorer, repeat. Expect a communications blackout at any moment.
Copy that, Houston.
Explorer, this is Kowalski confirming visual contact with debris. Debris is from a BSE sat. Repeat, I have...
Dr. Stone requesting faster transport.
We have to go, go!
Kennedy reports meteorological conditions. Go.
Houston, Explorer, copy.
Explorer, Dr. Stone requesting faster transport to Bay Area. Explorer, do you copy?
Explorer, permission to retrieve Dr. Stone.
Your go, Kowalski. Houston, this is Explorer, copy.
All right.
We've lost Houston.
Oh.
We've lost Houston.
Unstrap. Look, we need to get the hell out of here. Need some help there, man? No, don't wait for us.
Stuck!
Man down!
Houston, this
Man
is
down!
Copy. Houston, this is Explorer, copy. Kowalski,
Explorer's been hit. Explorer's been hit. Astronaut is off structure. Dr. Stone is off structure. Dr. Stone, detach. You must detach. If you don't detach, that arm's going to carry you too far. Listen to my voice. You need to focus. I'm losing visual of you. In a few seconds, I won't be able to track you. You need to detach. I can't see you anymore. Do it now. Houston, I've lost visual of Dr. Stone. Houston, I've lost visual of Dr. Stone.
What I particularly enjoyed about this opening scene overall was how in one take they kept constant dialogue at almost all times to distract the audience from the idea that something halfway through the shot was building up. The tension and energy was slowly building up to the end. The camera movement is extremely fluid and smooth in all axes to allow the audience to experience zero gravity and make the experience a lot more intimate. The camera moves as elastically in and out of the subject, meaning by coming up close and then backing away much wider, almost like the camera is elliptically orbiting the space shuttle. The lighting in this scene throughout the whole movie was made to be extremely accurate by the use of an LED box which actors can act in to allow the correct light levels to be captured on their faces and make it feel more naturalistic, make it look more naturalistic. Lubezki worked with the VFX department to ensure all colours and lighting was so accurate that it would yield the same result if filmed in space, which is what Cuarón said it looked like after the creation of the movie. This light would either be a key light from the sun or fill light bounced off the Earth or the moon, despite the moon's negligence. It was difficult to add colour to this film effectively and in different ways, as the majority of it would be showing the blackness of deep space. So they used the fast speed of the shuttle to their advantage and were able to factually create different looks of Earth so that the creators were giving the audience something new to look at every time, whether it be a different continent, country, climate, or different sunset view. As we get to the end of our list, we follow Regan Thompson closely on his journey to seek popularity at whatever cost. Mixed with dynamic dialogue and atmospheric jazz, we see this one-take wonder explore the life of a struggling and washed-up actor with his past hugging onto him everywhere he goes.
Hey.
Hey.
What are you still doing here?
Nothing. Nothing. Your costumes are hanging in your dressing room.
Oh, great, great.
Oh, I got that coconut water that you wanted. If you want the face stuff,
Hey.
it's not open till tomorrow. What?
I'm not sure that I said thank you.
For what?
For everything. I mean, you've been doing a really good job, and, you know, honestly.
Yeah.
And I've been so preoccupied with all that. Okay, well, I just wanted to say that. What is that? That smell. What is it? Look at me. Look at me.
What? What?
God, you gotta be shitting me.
Dad.
Where is it?
Can we not do this, please? Dad?
Where is it? I can't believe this. What is this?
Chunky peanut butter.
This. What is that?
That's pot. Relax.
Relax. You can't do this to me.
To you?
Oh, shut up. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about you.
Now,
what else
don't
is
do
new?
the thing
The
where
thing where I'm thinking about me.
Look, I'm trying to do something that's important.
This is not important.
It's important to me. Okay? Maybe not to you or your cynical friends whose only ambition is to go viral, but to me, this is, my God, this is my career. This is my chance to finally do some work that actually means something.
It means something to who? You had a career, Dad, before the third comic book movie. Before people started to forget who was inside that bird costume. You were doing a play based on a book that was written 60 years ago for 1,000 rich old white people whose only real concern is going to be where they go to have their cake and coffee when it's over. Nobody gives a shit but you. And let's face it, Dad, you are not doing this for the sake of art. You are doing this because you want to feel relevant again. Well, guess what? There's an entire world out there where people fight to be relevant every single day, and you act like it doesn't exist. Things are happening in a place that you ignore, a place that, by the way, has already forgotten about you. I mean, who the fuck are you? You hate bloggers, you mock Twitter, you don't even have a Facebook page. You're the one who doesn't exist. You're doing this because you're scared to death, like the rest of us, that you don't matter. And you know what? You're right. You don't. It's not important, okay? You're not important. Get used to it.
With this whole movie being something incredible to remember, with many comedic moments in this one-take film, this moment was the first actual communication between Regan and his daughter, who is in rehab, and it's an outpour of emotions from both sides. We see Regan feeling ashamed of his daughter for bringing down his reputation by smoking a joint during her rehab phase. But what I find moving about it is the fact that this gives her dad almost a wake-up call to what his daughter sees him as or notices about him. Sam, throughout the entire film, has been talking to her father quietly but with very little to say negatively, so that would then explain her outpour of emotions at this point. As we move towards her, we are in the light with Regan and Sam, so it feels like we are now a part of those thoughts, which is then when she argues and outpours. The whole of this film is shot with a handheld camera using a wide-angle lens, which would allow everything to be much closer to the characters, similarly to Children of Men and The Tree of Life. The use of handheld cameras also in this film mimics the fast-paced emotion and movement of the characters throughout the labyrinth of the theatre, once again immersing the audience. The colour and light work together hand in hand here to give quite a warm effect in this scene, but only in the corner at which Sam is working, and then everywhere else it diminishes into darkness, giving the idea she isolates herself with a lot of people when doing her own things or thinking about her own thoughts. Our final film for today follows a man abandoned by his men to die after a gruesome bear attack in the unforgiving cold of 19th century America, travelling across the country in this revenge-bound journey. Iñárritu presents the beauty and brutality of the climate with a story behind it all. Let's have a look.
That was no deal. You killed my boy.
Well, maybe you should raise the man. Says some girly little bitch. God damn it. You came all this way just for your revenge, huh? Will you enjoy it, class? 'Cause there ain't nothing gonna bring your boy back.
When we look at what really makes this scene effective, we see the performance of the actors and the very realistic combat. Without the detailed prosthetics and fake blood, this scene would not be what it is. One of the most extremely tense scenes in the film, in my opinion, and one of the many tense moments which makes me wince every time I watch this, is the moment Glass stabs his weapon into the back of Fitzgerald's knee. The low-level framing brings us closer to the action so that we are also crawling alongside Glass and Fitzgerald. We would get these raw moments in which the canted framing of the shot or the Dutch angle would emphasize the unbalance of the fight, giving the audience an idea of who's dominating whom. As we get to the end of the fight, both are tired and fatally injured, and the vigorous movement of the handheld camera changes to be much more slow, calming and relaxed. One thing to also note is that the sun at the start of this scene begins to shine brighter in the background in the shot, almost foreshadowing or giving strength to Glass for his victory when he needs it most, as it's been absent in the whole film up to this point. We don't see much vibrant colour throughout the movie, and even in this scene it's quite a calm array of colours. However, as the fight persists, we see the redness of their blood on the snowy ground, which becomes quite striking, making everything more tense and visually appeasing. The light in this scene is quite even because of the clouds, so we don't really see shadows that much. Because of that, I would say that the sunlight is both the key light and the backlight at the same time. All of this film was filmed with natural lighting in sets all across America and South America, which really give credit to the actors for putting up with this weather, this harsh climate. Now that we have familiarized ourselves with some of Lubezki's best work, I will briefly sum up the few things you will need for a Lubezki masterpiece. As a base, you will need an influential director, preferably Mexican. It would also help if they have collaborated or will collaborate with you more than once, as this has proven to result positively. This is not necessary, as you will get the same beautiful result either way. If you are directing yourself, here are the brief points you will need to think about in terms of camera work, colour and lighting. A long take is the best method of getting your audience's attention so that they don't get too bored or easily distracted. Ensure it's 2 minutes at the very minimum, because we need to create something which is continuous and close. A few shots must be filmed handheld or with a Steadicam. Whatever it is, there have to be some scenes where the camera is handheld in order to give it a much more personal touch. You want to touch your audience, so what better than making something that feels like it's being filmed homemade? You shouldn't have to be too sharp with colours unless you have very little to film or have to stay in the same setting. The colour within the scene should reflect the emotions and atmospheres within that scene to further emphasise the message or idea of the whole movie. Finally, you will need to make natural lighting a priority. Lubezki is always focusing on making the experience more immersive for the audience, which means you will have to. This does mean tailoring what you do to the mercy of the weather, but the result will speak for itself.